In The Phantom Menace, after the Jedi Master Qui-Gon Jinn briefly duels a mysterious dark-robed figure on the desert world of Tatooine, he later reports to the Jedi Council that he believes the identity of his attacker to be a Sith Lord, only stating that he was trained in the Jedi arts. During this report, he is met with hesitance by Jedi Masters Yoda and Windu, as they are not so swift to deem Jinn's attacker as Sith in origin, seeing as the Sith had at this point been seemingly extinct for centuries. However, later after another confrontation with the Dark Warrior we know as Darth Maul and Jinn's death at his hand, the Jedi conclude that he is in fact a Sith Lord. But what are the greater details of this conclusion, and how could the Jedi be so confident, seeing as other Dark Jedi had arisen as threats during the Sith's absence, such as Kamari Vosa and Xanatos? There were three major factors that contributed to the conclusion Maul was in fact a Sith Lord. The first was Maul's fighting style, as later reported to the Council by newly anointed Jedi Knight Obi-Wan Kenobi, who fought alongside Jinn on Naboo. Kenobi explained Maul used a highly aggressive and emotion-fueled lightsaber style, one the Jedi deduced as Form 7 Juyo, and a form not taught at the Jedi Order. The form was well known as a Sith lightsaber fighting style, and allowed the Council to determine the threat of Maul was not Jedi in origin, as he utilized a form not taught by any Jedi at the time. The next factor was the tattoos that covered Maul's body being discovered as Sith in origin, which was an obvious indication to where Maul came from and who he served, with him wearing his tattoos proudly as a statement of the returned Sith Empire. Perhaps the most influential detail to the conclusion Maul was a Sith Lord was the Jedi's recent clouded vision when concerning the Force. During the events of The Phantom Menace, the Jedi's vision was suddenly clouded by an intense shadow that hindered the Order from seeing through the Force clearly. This was an obvious sign that dark powers were at work, and after Maul emerged and engaged Jinn for a second time, the Jedi agreed the Sith were indeed behind this plot. In actuality, Maul had no part in clouding the view of the Jedi, as the Sith Lords Plagueis and Sidious conducted a newly developed ritual that sent their hatred and contempt across the stars, similar to what they had done years earlier, but slightly altered. After Maul's apparent death, his ship was also left on the planet of Naboo, and evidence of his dark origin was likely found within. During the duel on Naboo, Jinn and Kenobi sensed the dark side of the Force was extremely powerful within Maul, but they also sensed it was refined and sharp, showing them he had endured training in the dark side of the Force, and was not wielding it purely out of rage or dark emotions, but that he had rather crafted himself into a dark side warrior. Maul was unlike anything the Jedi had sensed before, and was clearly not some unrefined fallen Jedi, but rather the first of the returned Sith Order. Maul was able to defeat a Jedi Master and lightsaber prodigy in lightsaber combat, as described by Obi-Wan Kenobi following, not only beating Jinn out of superior will or luck, but systematically dismantling him and driving the engagement to a location of his choosing, where he was able to separate the Jedi and defeat them separately. This again added evidence to Maul being a Sith Lord. Not only was he powerful and defeated Qui-Gon, but he did so using superior planning and tactics, not just superior power. So that is how the Jedi Council learned and determined Maul was a Sith Lord, despite him never actually saying so in the movie itself, and despite his origins remaining a mystery to the Jedi. But what do you think? Is this a good explanation as to how the Jedi determined Maul was in fact the Sith Lord? If you have any suggestions you would like to see made into full videos, please leave them in the comments down below, as I love reading them and go through them very often. If you enjoyed this video and feel it deserves it, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a like, as it helps me and the channel out a great deal. If you haven't already, maybe consider subscribing to ensure you stay up to date with everything Star Wars related, from news, theories, and explanation videos. If you would like to contact and interact with me directly, the best place to do so is on Twitter @StupendousWave. Thanks so much for watching, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.